Hey guys, Aspen here, and welcome to my new place of recording. Okay, sorry, the camera is like really zoomed in, so I have to like do this. So yes, this is my best friend right here. Where's your head? Right here. He doesn't have a name. He's just whatever you want to call him. Sorry if I'm being quiet. I'm probably gonna have to boost the audio like a lot, cause right now it's midnight and my new place of recording is like right next to my grandmother's room, and I don't want to wake her up. But I felt really motivated tonight, so I was like, I don't really want to like sit upstairs, so I'm gonna come make a video because this has been annoying me for a while, for like 2 weeks. So I decided why not make a video on it. So obviously by the title you can tell this is about my vet visit with my Sunbeams snake. I will tell you a little bit of information about him. I did make a care video for them, but I'm actually going to remake it so that there's less background noise and the information is more organized. So yes, so anyway, I took my Sunbeam to the vet because he had, or he still has it, a respiratory infection. He did not get it in my care, by the way. He had it before. So if you're a reptile lover, don't like go in the comments and be like, oh my god, you didn't take care of your reptiles, oh my god. No, he had it before I got him, and it then, was getting really bad, his wheezing and everything, and I was like, okay, this isn't just like something that was going on when I got him. So I researched and found out it was a respiratory infection and yada yada yada. So should I like turn on his lights? Hold on. There we go. Okay. I don't even know if you can see that, but he has like eye lights. I know, I'm sorry. So of course I took him to the vet and we have to give him injections now. If I remember, I'll put a video right in front of his face. But if I don't, just know I have to give him injections and everything, so. So of course, sunbeams are not very common in the reptile world, and they're vastly different than most types of snakes because for one, they need super high humidities, because I keep my sunbeams humidity at 99%, and whenever I open his tank I get blasted with humidity and I'm instantly dying. So yes, but that is like ideal humidity for them, because they actually live in like rice paddies, which are fields of water that people plant rice in and everything. Well, they live beside them, not like in them, but it's still really wet, right? So of course, they need that super high humidity. And in order to get that humidity, you have to keep them in plastic tubs, because like terrariums, like fish tanks and everything, will not hold that humidity because of the screen top and everything. So, and I know there are some like special reptile like cages out there that can hold that humidity, but seriously, I'm not gonna go out and spend like $200 on this special like tank when I can get a tub for like $30 and boom, he's happy, his humidity's perfect. Yeah. So of course, that's how I have him. And then also this room that I'm in right now stays at kind of like an ambient temperature of around 85 to 90 degrees because the camera's actually right next to a heater, which I need to turn up anyways because it's not that hot right now. So sunbeams also like it like really cold. Not really cold, but they're like highest temperature that they should be at is like 85 degrees, whereas other snakes, you know, it's like 90, you know, stuff like that, right? So, of course, I don't need a heating mat or basking light for his tank, because with the ambient room temperature, it actually keeps his tank at like the perfect degrees, you know, so that it's kind of this nice gradient down into the substrate, of where the substrate is kind of like 70 to 75 and above, and like upper layer substrate is like 80 to 85. So yes. So now that you have some basic information about sunbeams, try to keep that in your head while I explain this. Another thing about their humidity is that if sunbeams get like dried out, like their humidities are not between like 80 and 100, they can die. Like they can just all of a sudden die. So yeah, that's an important factor as well. So just remember that, okay? Sorry, like I haven't worn this head and spoken it for so long, like my cheeks hurt. When I went to the vet, he had no clue how to check sunbeams and all that, because obviously they're not common in the reptile like world. And you know, heck, I didn't even know half the information until like I did extensive research. Like I had to go and watch videos, I had to read multiple articles, I had to go to their Wikipedia page, you know, all about sunbeams to figure out what I needed to do. And I'm still figuring out stuff as I go along. So yeah, so I go into the vet and, sorry. One more thing you should know is that they hate, absolutely despise sunlight. Like worse than vampires, they hate sunlight. So that's why I only take mine outside at night, or I keep him in the house, because he does not like light, especially sunlight, because it's so bright and his eyes are so sensitive. So keep that in mind, okay? Sorry, this video is like all jacky, but yay. So anyway, I take him to the vet, and the vet is, you know, checking him as normal. And of course, Ben is asking me about his husbandry and everything. I should really pull up the email and read it a little bit to you, but I already read it earlier today talking to my mom, so I don't need to do that because I have him memorized. Sorry, I hit your hand. This is my friend, don't be me. Okay, so anyway, so we're there and he's like, okay, what do you keep him in? And right now he's actually in a temporary house hide thingy where I have him in a separate tub with only like moss to keep humidity levels up, and then like a hide to keep it like dark and everything in there. So because his respiratory infection, I've been giving him injections for about like 2 weeks now, and it's not really improving. So I think it's because like I keep him in his regular tub and it's just full of like dirt, like, so I think it like tickles his nose a little bit and is keeping him from like really healing. So yeah, but once he heals, I think he'll be fine back in his regular tub. I think just like right now, kind of like when you have strep throat, you know, like eating, you can't eat all the time and it hurts to talk, your throat is agitated. So you don't talk and you don't eat as much and you get better, right? So that's kind of how it is. But then after it cures, you know, you can go back to talking and eating as much as you want. That's why we're all fat. So anyway, can you know, like, okay. So anyway, so I just tell the vet, you know, about his husbandry, that I have about 6 inches of dirt for him to crawl around in, because obviously they're a burrowing species. They don't climb. I have nothing else but dirt and a water bowl in his tank. I used to have a hide in there. He never used it. He does not climb at all, so he doesn't need like plants or anything in there. All he needs is substrate. And he's a burrowing species, so yeah, that's why. So, and that's also why I have so much dirt in there. So, of course, I'm telling the vet this, and he is, you know, and he asks about how I'm heating the tank. At that time, I didn't have this room temperature at like 85, so I was actually heating it using an under tank heater, you know, like heat mat, because obviously that's how you can heat him up, because it'll heat the substrate and make this nice gradient as you go up, and that's how I kept him warm. And so the vet, not knowing anything about Sunbeams, is like, you should get an overhead basking light for him. I wasn't gonna argue with the vet, but I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, no thank you. Because he will never bask in it, because he does not like light. He never comes above the substrate either. So even if I got one that didn't produce light, which they do make those, he still wouldn't come up to get warm. It wouldn't be hot enough to heat his substrate and get him warm. And also, I have him in a plastic tub, and heat lamps will melt plastic. If you didn't know that, they will. They will get so hot they will start to melt plastic, which can cause fumes, which can kill your snake. Because it's chemicals, right? So I just looked at him like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm not doing that. And then he was like, I also want you to move him out of a tub into a terrarium. And I looked at him like, no, because I already have a lizard, a fire skink, to be exact, that has to have high humidities as well. And I have him in a terrarium, and I struggle with his humidity levels. I had to wrap the top in tin foil, and it's still super dry in there. And yeah, I struggle with his humidity levels. So it's like definitely a snake species that if you even are a little lenient on his humidity levels like I am my fire skink, he will die. He will just keel over and die. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll switch into a terrarium, okay. And then I needed to get a poop sample to see if he had parasites, which I didn't actually end up getting that because his fecal matter was solid. Yay. So he doesn't have parasites, but he was like, I want you to put him in a temporary house. Well, you wait for him to use the restroom. And I was like, okay. So I did actually put him in a temporary thing, but obviously I put like sopping wet sphagnum moss in there and that hide and everything to keep his humidity levels like really far up, right? And of course the vet was like, when you put him in here, I want you to give him newspapers as bedding so that it's not super humid in his thing and doesn't get the fecal matter wet. And I looked at him like, you know, we're talking about a snake species that if it dries out, it will die, right? I am not drying my snake out. So, yeah. I was like, I know obviously you probably don't know a lot about sunbeams, but don't start suggesting all this stuff that you don't even know if it'll work. Yeah. So, of course, like, I just looked at it like, sure, whatever. But, yeah, he just kept doing, like, giving me all these dumb suggestions and everything, and it's like, dude, none of that'll even work for him. Okay, whatever. So yeah, I changed nothing about my care, and I'm not going to follow anything the vet said, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know how long this video is, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more information about us giving him, okay, no, never mind, okay. Give you a little more information about his injections. So, of course, he is a very, very strong snake, okay? Like, seriously, he is so strong. He is a constrictor. He is probably about as strong as a ball python or boa constrictor at, you know, his size, so about 3 feet long. He is super, super, super strong. So, of course, when we were giving him his injections, obviously he doesn't like being poked with a needle. So we have to hold him like super, super firmly, right? And so today, giving him one of his injections, I was trying to hold him super firmly like I normally do. And then, of course, you know, my mom couldn't find her glasses or anything. So she's like, I can't see around your hands. And it's like, I'd rather hold him firmly and not get bit and him not like tense up and rip the needle out. So, of course, she forced me to move my hands, and you know what happened? Yeah, he tensed up and jabbed the needle all the way into himself and then ripped the needle out, and of course my mom freaked out because he tensed and moved his body like, you know, like, right, you know, kind of like folded into himself like that. And of course she ripped the needle out, and I was like, uh-huh. And then I was finally holding him firmly, you know, like, okay, here you go, do the injection really quickly. And then she was like, oh, I can't see around all your guys' hands, because my grandmother was helping as well. So, of course, she forced me to move my hand, not my grandmother. So, of course, my grandmother's then shoving flat down on his back like this, instead of, like, holding him around like that. And, of course, like, crushing him against the table, and he still tenses up, almost rips the needle out, but my mom just goes ahead and just, as fast as she can, and it's like, oh my god, you should have just let me hold him. Oh my god. And like, I told them, and then my mom yelled at me that like later, because we couldn't find her glasses, that before we give him his injections, we need to get everything together. And I looked at her, I didn't say this, but I looked at her, and I was like, it takes 20 minutes for the shots to heat up. Because we freeze the shots and then unfreeze them. So you had 20 minutes to find your glasses before we had to give him the shot. And then even after that, the shot can sit there in the hot water as we look for your glasses if you can't find them within that 20 minutes. So, it's kind of your fault, because I told you, I'm going to heat up his shot now, and we're going to give him a shot. And then it took 20 minutes for him to heat up. So, yeah. So anyway, I hope all of you have a great night or day, depending on whenever you're seeing this. And I hope I didn't bore you to death with my ranting about my idiotic vet. But yeah, anyway, so